Yo, this is the first TWISI podcast, and it couldn't be with anybody more fitting. It was with a guy named Brendan Backstrom, aka LowBackAbility. And just for some background, I sent him the TWISI video that I made sometime last week, and I basically just said, like, yo, you're somebody that inspired me, somebody that gave me hope when I needed it with my chronic pain, because that's what this guy's all about, is fixing chronic pain. And I turned off my phone, went to play a game of chess, and I saw on my email Brendan Backstrom ordered 3 shirts, and I was like, holy shit, no way he actually saw that. I don't know if you can hear that guy singing, but yeah, I mean, so crazy nice of him to get back to me to buy shirts, and he said, yo, I'll be on the podcast, let's do it next week. Just so nice of him to be in a position where he is with as big of a following as he does, and to do this for me. So shout out to him. It's a really good episode, and I'm really excited for you to see it. Peace. Yo, this is the Way I See It podcast, episode 1. Today I'm visited by Brendan Backstrom. And for those of you who don't know, Brendan Backstrom is easily one of the coolest, most genuine, most relatable people I've ever seen on the internet. So to put it simply, Brendan, aka LowBackAbility, is a beast who withstood 7 years of chronic back pain and experienced homelessness, hopelessness, and most importantly, he made it through to tell the tale and to help hundreds of thousands of people who are just like him in his struggles. So to me and so many other people, most simply put, Brendan is just proof that it will be okay no matter how bad it might seem right now. If you stay the course and trust the process, like Brendan says, you'll bear the fruits of your resilience and positivity. So did I get all that right, Brendan?
Better than I could have ever written, man. It sounds like that was a stage paid actor script. That was beautiful. I appreciate it. Yeah, that was a beautiful intro. I appreciate you, bro. I'm glad to be here, and I came across your story last week and it was super inspiring, and jumped on it. I'd love to be the first guest. That's an honor. So
Yeah.
let's do it. I'm happy to be here, man. Thank
My
you.
boy. Thank you so much. I told
Yeah.
Brendan before this, but this was seriously my dream guest for the podcast that I figured might happen down the road years. But he was nice enough to give a really small channel with a big mission a chance, and he came here. So super cool of him. Um, yeah, I couldn't appreciate
Yeah.
it. So just gonna
Yeah,
ask
we're all
you a question. Sorry, go ahead.
we're all small channels with big visions, man. That's how I got here. You've got it. Like I was saying off the podcast, like you don't have to feel out of place asking people like me for this kind of thing because you really have the hard to acquire sort of intangible like thing that separates people to their mission is I know we'll get into it, but just want to really put that out there. Like you have complete business in asking me for an interview and everyone else that you may go on to ask for. So
Appreciate it, man.
yeah.
Thank you so much. And yeah, I want to ask him some questions, pick his brain a little bit because he's got a really, really cool story. And, he's proof that you can really do whatever you want, no matter how low you might be at some points. And now he helps hundreds of thousands of people, which is, probably the greatest thing that you can do in this world is help a wide group of people that you have empathy for. So, yeah, first question. I mentioned that you had chronic pain for 7 years, but I wasn't specific with details or anything. So, just for people who don't know, could you explain when that experience started and sort of how it impacted your life?
Yeah, man. So I was 16 at the time. This is when the scene really sets with pain entering my life. And I was just a teenager with very big dreams to be a professional athlete. And I was always kind of wired to think delusionally big. And a part of that was me also being rational enough to know I have to work harder than everybody else. I didn't know how to work leverage and to really plan for the long game. I was just trying to make up for lost time. So I was training for soccer and I was running and I was just practicing before school. Then I would have soccer practice after school. Then I would stay outside for 3 more hours and basically be taking like free kicks and practice shots and different drills for 6 hours a day with very little strength training. And so I just wore out my knees before I was even 17. And I was getting partial tears in my tendons. And it got to a point where I couldn't not just play. I really struggled to even just walk around, sit in chairs without my knees swelling up and getting all achy just to exist. So by the time I was 17, I was kind of the like bad knees friend of my group. And then that was my mission for the next couple years to figure out that. And I've been through physical therapy a bunch of times in high school for my knees. It was introducing me to sort of the consistent theme I was going to find through later injuries, which was we're taught to avoid pain or to mask it largely. Even if that's outdated physiotherapy protocols and philosophy, it's still standing as the primary idea in people is that pain should just be avoided and the injuries are a measure of you doing too much always. And so to speed up the story, I had knee issues from the time I was 16 to about 19. I had surgery for it. It didn't really help too much, but I had to rehab from the injury of surgery, which was useful to learn about. And then I had stress fractures in my shins from 19 to about 22. And that was me pursuing college track, trying to make up for the lost years of high school sports when I was trying to do it in college. And then I finally got my disc herniations that led to the whole low back ability stuff when I was 20. I was still 21. Um, and then that led to a bunch of other issues in my hips and a sports hernia, and I had hip impingement. And then I just had a really weird body at that point, from lower leg and knee issues to then my back and hips, which led to all these compensations. My hips were like off centered a few inches, and I was sitting in pain every day in a chair. It kind of just turned into this widespread dysfunction and pain existence. And the whole range of it was from age 16 to 25, about. So many rounds of physical therapy in that. I studied exercise science in school just to try to fix my own problem when it was time to go to college. Um, I was just trying to go to play sports at the time. I didn't really know what my passion would be, but I knew I have these injuries that I cannot fix.
Yeah.
So let me go study it and maybe go on track to become a physical therapist. And I worked at physical therapy clinics as a technician, kind of like a almost paid intern. I took people through protocols and I was watching the whole process of the patient from the time they come in to the time they leave. So I was able to see on different sides of the coin, like as the patient and as a training clinician trying to become a professional in the field. Um, I saw a lot of commonalities and I saw a lot of people just learning to accept a life of complacency and pain at a young age, under 30, that while it's dangerous to just do sports. I was told by my doctor, I was like 21, well, you shouldn't be lifting. And it's like, well, that's a vague statement. It's not his fault. Um, but all that to say that was my injury journey. It was a bunch of little things that turned into this bigger overall um, reflection now as I look back at it of just confusion and pain, and I felt very isolated. And I was kind of being, I guess you could say, gaslit and misled unintentionally by some medical professionals, which just led me to feeling like there was no way I was going to be even pain free to live, let alone get back to my goals in sports and be active. So, yeah, early 20s were done in by the pain and injuries of just a bunch of stuff. But
Yeah.
yeah, man. Now
So
I'm
yeah,
27 and trying to help people not dive into the hopelessness trap, because I'm sure your questions will follow up on how I got here, but that is not where the story ends.
yeah. I feel you to
So,
an extent. Like I've had a little bit over 2 years of shoulder pain, and everything you say, like not only just now, but on your page on Instagram, like it's like a mirror for my brain. Like the thoughts, like when you reassure people, um, like when you say I almost wanted to see a diagnosis from an MRI. Like I was hoping that there would be something because it's just so confusing. There's something going on, but it, is there? Is there not? Is it all in my head? So yeah.
yeah.
So just
Yeah,
for
man,
go ahead.
there's a lot of confusing ideas around all this stuff. That's part of the isolation that you start to feel is like you can't even articulate a problem, so you can't come to a solution because you're kind of being led to feeling, well, we don't know what's wrong with you. So at that point, it's a very lonely place. But go ahead.
For sure. Well, just for
Yeah.
people who don't know your page, because you explained your story, but could you explain briefly like what you do now with
Mhm.
LBA?
Yeah. So I started really focusing on the confusion and then learned wisdom afterwards of the low back from my journey because that one embodied probably the biggest problem at scale when it comes to fear and avoidance of the body. But also, it was the one that just plagued me the most and really infiltrated my identity and my peace of mind. And so, a little bit over 2 years ago, I went from trying to share my story of just injuries overall on social media, making videos to just for resonance, and then giving little tips of rebuilding your body. But then I started to focus just on the low back because I realized it's such a larger problem than people realize. Um, and that's okay if you're not going through it. It's not like something we need to spread awareness of necessarily for no reason, but really, I was 24 thinking I was the only person with back pain. And I was going to doctor's offices and basically being reassured that because of my young age, I would heal automatically. That two, it doesn't really make sense that I'm having this problem. And three, that well, back pain is just a matter of age. So if you already have it at age 24, that just means you got the unlucky draw of
Yeah.
lottery and you're now set for back pain forever. So it's like it's a ticking time bomb for all of us because back pain is simply a matter of age. That's what they believe. So if you get it at a young age, you're just here early. All of those things are very scary ideas because you have zero chance in fixing something that you think is unfixable. You're just not going to look for a solution. And so, yeah, one thing after another, I started making a couple videos on my past experiences with my back, and they went mega viral and had a lot of resonance and just real DMs flooding in of essays and people's stories. And that kind of set up my next step to take it more serious and realize, okay, well, that's not what I thought I would make my life about, being low
Yeah.
back ability, super random in my eyes. I just wanted to run track and play soccer. That's kind of super niche, but it was me following intuition of the next step and then genuinely having a heart for people and sharing my story. And it was really well received. And I just doubled down and doubled down. And then now, 2 years in, my whole life is focused every day on talking to people with back pain, reflecting back to the lowest states I was at, thinking about the confusion I had, and basically trying to give advice that would have saved my former self,
Yeah.
even if it's just mental frameworks, even if it's ways to stay focused through the ups and downs of pain as you're building. Um, but then also the tangible information. You have SI joint pain. What does that terminology even mean? What is an SI joint? Some things, if you Google, like the SI joint, you're going to see anatomy pictures of just bones. And so if you Google your problem, SI joint pain, you may think, I just have arthritis of these joints. And you're going to see pictures of injections. So you start to think the only thing is there's bones, I need injections. There's other nuance and information of tissue that isn't really in the first pages of Google for the rehab approach, where there's actually layers of ligaments. There's actually a ton of little muscles you can train. And so, without ranting too hard on it, there's a huge gap of information that people could become equipped in themselves to become their own back expert. And so I would say that's probably the slogan of my mission. Um, I have a program and I have a website to let people take themselves through rehabbing their back, but largely the contribution I'm trying to make is to equip people to be their own back expert. So if they're suffering in chronic pain, they realize they know the most about their body than anyone, even if they don't know much today. You have to work through the clues of pain. You have to work with your symptoms. You have to be curious and open-minded. And yeah, my whole life now is just trying to get people on that path, get them on a path where they're not 25 and quitting on their future and speeding up their aging and speeding up their care caution, which is only going to make the issues worse over the
Yeah.
following years. and give enough tangible info that people know what to do, next step. But really, like I just helping people ask the right questions about their pain. And so far, we've helped thousands of people with back pain through the program. We've had 20,000 people go through and a lot of success.
Yeah.
Um, so
And I would
yeah,
argue, 20,000 people through the program, but I would argue like hundreds of thousands of people have been helped. Not maybe not even by the back advice, but like for me, I don't have back problems, like low back, but
yeah,
just a story and like you said, felt like nobody had what you had. And then you start posting videos and you're getting all these messages, which is like
right,
right there. It's like, oh, wait, a lot of people have this. So yeah,
yeah,
I would argue that you're helping way more people than just the people in the program. So yeah, thanks for sharing
thank you.
what you
Yeah,
do.
bro. Yeah.
And I know we talked about it before the podcast started, but like through 2 years of this pain, I've known that like at some points I need to remember my why, otherwise I probably wouldn't continue. So I'm curious for you, what was your why in the midst of like the worst of it that kept getting you through that pain?
In the before story of like me not even having this breakthrough into the next stage of life, like when I was deep in it.
When you're the worst that it was, yeah, like 20s.
Yeah. For me, it felt like my friends always joke about it who knew me from when I was a teenager that it seemed like I would always try the hardest out of all of us. And then some reason I would get the worst outcomes and have the worst luck.
Yeah.
And so I was the friend that would, if we're all at practice and like everyone's holding a plank, I'm the friend that doesn't care if the coach looks away, I'm not dropping the plank, right?
Mhm.
Like I'm not ever taking the shortcut. If anything, I'm trying to actually do extra on top of it. And it all came from a place of scarcity and lack and thinking I had to do more. But regardless, like for me, I did feel betrayed by all the age-old wisdom of, you get what you put in is what you get
Yeah.
when you put out, whatever that saying is, butchered it. Um, just basically the idea of hard work's going to take you where you want to be. And I was coping through a lot of life stuff by just doubling down into the grind. And it might have felt like a betrayal from the law of compensation in life. But then I started to realize there's no way I went through this unusual amount of bad. And eventually it's probably not going to give me the equal sum in the positive direction. But it was super delayed. And so it went from just feeling very unfair over and over and over to where I started to see a pattern and I was like, okay, stuff isn't happening to me. I'm not just, I keep getting injured in these different ways, and there's no way that it's just bad luck. One, I must have an unhealthy life pattern, period. Some kind of mental like approach that's not making sense and some kind of way I'm treating myself. But two, there must be an equally powerful story that has to include this sort of stuff. I needed scars to
Mm,
be who I am today
yeah.
for a lot of people. And even if I could have all the technical knowledge and have had moments of the problem to relate to people, if I didn't know what it was like to quit and then try again and then quit and try again 10 times over, that connection through screens just wouldn't happen for people when I have videos. I'm not the most intelligent person on earth completely. I'm not the best well-spoken person completely on earth. I'm not the most technically sound and even the trade and the specifics of my field. There's just something of the intangible resonance that goes through only because I've I've faced rock bottom over and over and over. And at a certain point, I just saw it differently and I saw it as part of the game.
Oh.
And so I almost took it as after like the third injury round and feeling hopeless, and I missed my whole college season. And when you're 20, that's your whole life in your eyes. Like you can't miss your entire college window of sports. I started to realize like, okay, I must be being set up for something far more important. And once I viewed it like that, opportunities started coming, which celebrated the very things I hated. Like the fact I went through injuries made me successful at creating content for people, where I was previously not successful trying to do fitness trends and trying to just do whatever, everything I tried to do on social media before. Um, but yeah, I think it was a mix of me having the heart to really care for people. I always was a fan of storytelling. That's why I appreciate
Hmm.
you so much and what you're doing. I see the power in it. I just didn't think that my storytelling would be about where I was a loser. I wanted the storytelling to be, oh, I was a slow athlete and then I became the world's best Olympian. Because now I'm a champion. Celebrate me as a champion. And
Yeah.
that's a great story. We love that on Pixar films. That's what storytelling is. No, I didn't know the whole storytelling was, no, I had the worst experience and now I'm still figuring it out and I'm doing a lot better. But no, you're not listening to me because I'm the biggest winner. You're listening to me because I've been the biggest loser and I'm still here. I didn't know that was a valuable story, but once I made that shift, then I viewed life all differently and I could get through anything because it just fed into that, you
Yeah.
know? So, yeah, some kind of intuition and foresight, to be honest. I wish there was a moment where I could say, like, at my absolute worst, I remember this one quote by whoever, but it wasn't really like that. It was a day-to-day experience of like revealing myself to me, and it was a lot of pain involved, but it led me right, man.
Yeah.
Intuition, it was really hard to predict, but yeah,
I
I
hear you.
guess just gotta keep going and really wait for the point. If it seems pointless, it's because you can't see it yet. Just wait for the point.
Yeah. Even when you can't see it. Exactly. Like when you say at some point the why kind of became like there has to be, forgot how you say it, but like an equal or greater good compared to this bad.
Yeah.
And it's like,
Yeah, I just got so go ahead.
no, no, go ahead.
It got so ridiculous. It was like at a certain point, I was like, this is a bad comedy. Like, there's no way. Then this happened. Then I finally fixed this injury. Then boom, first time out, I get injured in this. Then I finally fixed another 2 year injury. And then boom, I get hurt again. And that's why now I make videos and explaining on a list. I had disc herniations, led to sports hernia. Then I had hip impingement, which was really severe. I had shoulder issues that took me out for a couple of years of lifting. I had shin splints that turned into stress fractures. I had my knee surgery that was really messed up. At a certain point, it sounds like I'm lying because I have so
Yeah.
many just like multi-year injuries of different types that people will think we're either the most injured 20-year-old or you're just faking this to try to get engagement.
Yeah.
And like that's how well equipped I am now to knowing the wisdom to certain injuries and the wide arrangement of them is because I had that unlucky, uncanny depth of pain. And everyone goes, there's a lot of pain people can go through. I just want to throw this out there. Like, it's not me trying to complain because I had shin splints over the years. I've gotten to meet a lot of people suffering through disease, suffering through serious, insane spine issues that I've from clients I now have. Um, so I just don't want it to come across like I am the master of pain because I had shin splints and shoulder problems and everything in between. It's just more so it hurt a lot because I was going after big goals and really big dreams and putting my whole being into it. So to be roadblocked by that, that's the biggest pain of all. Um, but yeah, it was it's all ingredients, man. The good stuff, the bad stuff, it's all ingredients and you can make it into a shitty recipe or you can make it into a powerful, incredible recipe that other people eat from, and it's yeah, perspective, the vantage point you hold makes a big difference.
100%.
So,
And a huge part that I know you know is like you had all of that shit and it sounds like you're making it up because it's so much. Um, and the thing with those with chronic pain or any injuries is like it's not recognized as a struggle the way other things are. So I see on your page all the time, like one guy said like if it wasn't for you, I probably would have like ended my life. And then somebody replied like, this is crazy. Why would you end your life over back pain? But it's just crazy
right.
because like, yeah, it's not conceived like losing a loved one or something like that. it's just like this guy's exaggerating or it's all in his head. Um, so yeah, I think that's also worth noting. But so with all of that pain that you just described, briefly described, would you say that given what you have now and the people that you help now, do you look back on that and think it was worth it? Why yes or why no?
Hell no, let me run college track. What? Run it back. Nah, it was that's obviously a fake answer. Yeah, man, I wake up in disbelief most days at what my life has become. Um because I really get to just be myself, and the byproduct is that alone helps a lot of people. Um Me going and working out, and if I film my sessions and then I just give my recollections of what I used to do wrong and now what I'm thinking differently, I can just actually take people along my lifestyle and think about how confused I was in the past, and now um I'm basically on a different track now that I wouldn't have been able to predict in the past, just because inherently the wisdom I've learned through the pain is what gives me value, and that wisdom is not guru stuff. It's like practical. I get to talk about how I view training differently, how I view rest differently, how I am slower to my goals and playing the long game. And the result is people really do get a lot of value from that. And that's not that I don't put a lot of hard work to, say, the program and the website and the other goals and visions I have long term that I'm building towards. But it feels really assuring and settling that had I gotten everything I wanted in the past, all my dreams came true back then, life now would be a nightmare compared to what it is right now. I would just have been successful for me, and that doesn't really guarantee longevity of a mission. There's a lot of athletes that when their career is done, they're like, what the hell do I do with my life? And it's
Yeah.
because it's when you base your entire life only off of one theme, that is an activity, my passion, the thing, but there is no greater connection to other people or some kind of uh, just purpose larger than yourself. You can get lost when that activity's done, or you are the best at it even, and you're like, but now what? Okay, I'm the best at fill in the blank, but what does it mean to me? How does that actually help me feed to a higher calling in my life? And so yeah, um anything I had to sacrifice in the past to be valuable in the way I have been now, I still have those things. I can run track now if I want. I
Hmm.
can do sports now if I want. It's just in addition to this massive mission of trying to help a bunch of millions of former me's, and that gives me a reason to never really mope around in life and feel sorry for myself because there's just stuff too important. So no, I wouldn't change it. Definitely wouldn't change it. I wish I recorded more of it. I
Hmm.
wish I documented more of it just for the story. But yeah, I think it went exactly how it's supposed to.
For sure. Maybe more filming for the plot, but no, you wouldn't give it back for the work.
Exactly.
I love it.
Yeah,
Yo,
man.
just one thing. I set this time for like 30 minutes, so it's gonna end in 5 minutes, and I can't change it.
Gotcha.
Would there be any way that I could like stop it, get you back on one for like 10 minutes, and then
Yeah, that's fine.
okay, perfect. Sorry
You
about
want
that.
to do that now?
Yeah, sure. Is that all right?
Yeah, that's good.
Okay, I'll invite you right away. I also was curious, like, it's really helpful for you to have that chip on your shoulder throughout your whole young life, and it's gotten you to here. But like on social media, you mentioned that you want to sort of trade in your chip on your shoulder hunger for presence and gratitude. So I'm wondering, how has that been going? What have you been doing to do that? And why is this transition so important for people like you?
Yeah, man. So it's something I wanted to mention when you asked about my why earlier that I forgot to, was that the why changes a lot and it evolves over time. Because if I had the same why that I had when I was 16, I probably would have never really gotten why I was in the situations I was in because my why was a little destructive. There was a lot of vengeance in it. It was a villain arc. It was a lot of like, okay, you'll see. Oh, I'm the last pick here. I'm the last pick there. I'm overlooked here. I'm the underdog here. Now, I didn't put a vendetta out to any particular people in a hostile way, but I was like, I'm gonna funnel that into my work ethic. I
Mm.
punished myself because you treated me unfairly. That was essentially the end result, which is like, did I develop some skills faster than other people because I just sat at it for as many hours as I could? Yes, but then that also led to the overuse, abuse, and destruction of my mind and body to that task, and I ended up hating the things I was doing. But the chip on shoulder is good. Use whatever fuel you got at whatever stage you're at, but allow for the inevitable to happen and don't resist it when it comes and you realize the error in the previous ways because every stage you reach is going to require a different, lighter version of yourself. And if you want to stay where you are at, then you could probably be resistant to any kind of nudge to change. And whether that's your body, your conscience, your moral system, your spirit, whatever you want to call it, will probably wake up one day and be like, hey, man, like, maybe you don't got to win to prove to other people they were wrong. Maybe that's kind of childish. Maybe unfortunately, you know a little too much. You've been blessed a little bit too hard. Like, at this point, I just have to win just to honestly show nothing. I just got to win because thank God I get the chance. That's all it takes now. Where in the past, it was about basically coping with being overlooked, and I didn't want to be a negative person, so I transmuted it. But it's a skill set. So the best way I knew how to transmute at that time as a young adult, my skill set was limited. So I only knew how to turn disappointment into delayed gratification. And I'm just going to funnel work into it. I'm going to just wait for the payoff later.
Mm.
And so, that chip on the shoulder is good, but it's heavy. It gives you tendonitis. You get a messed up shoulder over time. And
Yeah.
I'm good off that because my goals now are way too big and I can't squeeze through that crack. The opportunity I'm going for is this wide. It doesn't really exist, but I can see light peeking through. I can't come in all like large and loud and mighty to try to bust down the door and have everyone know I'm here. And I realize I have to be concise. I have to be really present and you know it's a healthier way to live, but I can't give advice to my past self like to skip those steps because that progression of how I respond to life, it's like building your bench press from 100 pounds to 4 plates to 400 pounds. You can't just jump to that. You have to really do increments. Well, I could only handle 100 pounds of life before getting sore, and now I
Yeah.
can handle 400 pounds of life, but it had to be slow and steady. And so, yeah, man, I just think coming from a place sounds corny, but coming from a real place of gratitude and awareness is a more sustainable fuel than sort of the darker energy of just like vengeance and trying to prove people wrong because I've done it. Like I've proven to the people wrong that may have
Mhm.
stuck in my brain when I was young. And you know what that really practically feels like? So people know when you finally do the things people said you could never do, whether that's your family or whoever, it's something like this. They're like, you wait years to get your moment. You finally do something that you thought was going to give you this great feeling. And you're like, look, I did it. And then they go, that's amazing. I always knew you're going to do great things. And I'm like, that's it? Like, wait, even if they say, wow, that's insane. We didn't think that was possible and you did it. That moment lasts 5 seconds. And I'm like, yeah, I tried to tell y'all I could do that. And they're like, yeah, my bad. And I'm like, all right. Um, now what? I lived 8 years to get this. This moment's going to be savory. No, it was microwave, come and go, 5 seconds. And now it's like, was it worth it? Do I really want to do this? Did I do this for me? And
Yeah.
so, just that sweet satisfaction of like proving things wrong is a really come and go experience. You're going to consume it and it's going to be gone, and then it's like now you have to live with the life you created. And so, yeah, man, I talk about it outwardly because I know I got a lot of followers that are dreamers like me, and a lot of dreamers have that backstory and of like playing the long game, waiting it out, being the last pick, being overlooked, and still taking the high road. And I just, as much as I can, sprinkle little wisdom, plant little seeds for when people are ready. It's like when you're serious about doing something big, it has to mean a lot more than just like an immature, emotional kind of it's like a little kid trying to punch a brother back. Like I'm gonna get mine back.
In spite of them. Yeah.
You know, in spite this, it doesn't go as far as clarity. And you can only have clarity from a place of everlasting purpose. And that comes from a way more grounded and thankful sort of state. And so, yeah, you'll sleep better, you'll train better,
Hmm.
you'll have better conversations, you'll see the opportunity in things and not think of it as challenges. And like just the whole framework of life will start to change for you when you shift that energy. It's counterproductive to be spiteful and have vengeance. So, yeah.
100%. Would you say just do it for yourself instead of like going like this to somebody and they just go, cool?
Yeah, man, I think it's a full circle. I think at first I did it for other people in spite, then I did it for myself, and then now I do it for other people again, but from a place of understanding.
Hmm.
It's not, I'm not doing it to prove you wrong. I'm doing it to have you learn there's more. The same people that I may have wanted to prove wrong to defend myself, now I'm just trying to enlighten them to hopefully change their viewpoint. I
Yeah.
want them to see that more as possible, not because they doubted me. I don't need the consolation. I don't need the affirmation anymore. I just don't want them stuck with the limited viewpoint anymore.
Hmm.
So yeah, do it for yourself definitely um instead of proving anyone wrong. But then I think the next stage is after that, you'll probably start to want to inspire other people, which is even more important than doing it for yourself.
Yeah.
So
I mean, yeah, piggybacking off that, like obviously the route that you took, one of the most unorthodox thing you could have done. Like not getting a degree right away. You know, you did this. You were living in your car, I think, and you were just posting LBA videos. So you really did take, one of the most unorthodox paths that you could. But there's a quote I like, and it definitely applies to you. Um, it goes like, "I'd rather be at the bottom of a ladder that I do want to climb than halfway up one that I don't."
yeah.
So somebody listening to this, might be still figuring out which ladder they want to climb. I think it's important. I think you're a good person to answer this. What advice would you give to them for picking that ladder?
Mm. Well, we all have different lives we can try to live, and I'm not sure everyone would want my life truly, because my advice is this. I would always try to find a ladder that is equally as exciting as it is frightening because of how damn steep that thing is. And you're like, I'm supposed to just keep climbing with no end in sight. Like that just keeps going. And then you can't actually see what's up top. There's no guarantee that there's anything up there, but you just have this feeling about the way
Hmm.
it's built. The foundation is sturdy. It's like bolted in. Like, man, this must lead to somewhere because it's based on the best principles. It's based on the truest thing that I just feel. And it's equal parts uncertainty and then equal parts expression of faith. Where there's uncertainty and you're going to go with confidence, that further develops your conviction, and it's a risk. Not that nothing would be up there, because the real gift is you get really good at climbing, and I think that's really the biggest goal is to become in the flow state of life to where you don't have to wait for your vacation. You don't have to wait for your break from your real
Hmm.
life. Just realize like, oh, I'm living past dreams. My day to day is like in a flow that I can appreciate and not need escape from. And so picking that, it's got to probably scare you a bit. It has to feel delusional the first time you think of it. Most of my big, crazy goals started off with me just asking, what if? And then I played with that thought a little bit more. And I was like, no, really, like, what would it look like if I did that? And then it turned into my brain, like, finding potential options of, like, well, I guess I could see myself doing that. That's crazy, but I can actually envision it. And once you do that a few times, it's like, oh, it's destiny. I see it now. It's I've grooved this groove many times to where this is my ideal future. I'm headed towards it. But it always started off sounding like, well, that's dumb.
Yeah.
I'm gonna I'm gonna create a website and have 1 million members on it. It's gonna fix the ignorance problem of back pain, and people are gonna be able to help themselves. As a college dropout that was just a former patient and really stuck, that sounds dumb.
Delusional,
And
right?
then I started getting further, huh?
Delusional. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, super. And those are probably the only ones worth going after, anyways, because otherwise it's like, how exciting is it for someone to tell you, hey, man, you should go down this path because it's a guarantee you're going to end up in place B. You're like, "It- do you like place B? It's all right. It's cool, but you're definitely going to get there. And that's the biggest thing. And I'm like,
Yeah.
I think I'd rather just not do anything. I always thought I was lazy in life because I was never good at the traditional path. I genuinely thought I had a like deficiency because I just couldn't stick with school when it was taught on a basis of you need this. This is going to be on the test. I was like, but what about like learning just to learn? Like, why does I don't really care about the test. And
Hmm.
when everything's a formality to set you up for the next, like for me, that was just so deeply uninspiring. But if there was mystery in it and unknown, and I'm like, that's where I just got excited to pursue it. And so um, I got lost in a little metaphoric rant, but the decision making process is probably very individual. I
Yeah.
think there's a lot of power in turning wounds to wisdom, and if you have some kind of story, you may be really surprised how much fulfillment you find just by telling it, and you get a few people responding just open-hearted that you made a huge difference. That's an addicting that's definitely an addicting experience because it's cathartic, but it's also like successfully helping people. A lot of people go into work saying they want to help people, not knowing that they can go direct to people and be the impact themselves. It doesn't have to be through necessarily a career path or
Mhm.
a line of work. It can be, but their story is already powerful enough. And if you can tie in skills to it, even better. But um, yeah, whatever life people want to get after, we're all entitled to our own experience. But if you want to feel fulfillment like that, probably got to lean into the uncomfortable stuff
Hmm.
and think about what broke you down and just start talking, just start looking for it. Things will come. I mean, you're an example of that yourself. How did you pick your ladder?
I think like what you said, just not like this is plan A, fuck plan B, I'm never gonna go to plan B, but like I couldn't think of an occupation like after school that's just like, ooh, like like you said, you're guaranteed to get to this. So I'm in marketing, like you're guaranteed to be on the content creation side of marketing. Like let's do that. Like there's no uncertainty, there's no like, as like you said, as scary as it is exciting. Um, so I'm just not as drawn to it. And I swear I'm not trying to copy you, but also like if I can take the bad things that have happened and like remember that feeling that I felt, if I can help somebody else who feels that way, like that I was when it was really bad, that's like the most fulfilling thing, in my opinion, is to help somebody that like you do see yourself in. And even in like a small way, when I posted that video, some people said, like I get the chills when I think about it because they were like, they told me their story and some of them had like so similar, and then they said, "Thank you, this helped," and I was like crying in my bed, like this is addicting, and it's a healthy addiction. So I just think like you said, just having a story and wanting to help people that you're empathetic for and know how they feel. I think that's probably like the most exciting thing to do in occupation.
Yeah. Yeah, and in any way in life, like you can make it your job, or you could do that as a brother, you could do that as a mother, you could do that for your friends, you could, but that act of like leaning into the vulnerable side of life and not being afraid of judgment, there's power in that. That's why so many people avoid it. Like in so many realms of life, the very place you want to avoid is where the biggest evolution can be,
Hmm.
because there's a reason why most people don't want to go there. It's a big ass journey. You're gonna have to face a lot of emotions. You have to leave autopilot to help a stranger with something that makes you cry on camera. So sometimes I'll be in those moments. I'm like, Brendan, what the fuck am I doing right now? Why am I in front of a camera crying to strain? What is going on? But
Hmm.
I feel that it's real. And I can tell this isn't a script. And I'm not like, it's not planned to try to get an emotional pull out of someone. It's like, man, when I really reflect on those times, sometimes it does stir up the state I was in, and then it reminds me of how isolating it is and how hopeless. And just even people seeing that little vulnerability gives a infallible immediate connection with me that like they now everything else I'm saying they understand is coming from real experience. Where before that, a lot of people can fake it. A lot of people copy what I say. A lot of people take my videos and literally write down as if it's a script and say it word for word exactly my stuff, which is fine. But they hadn't been through it the same. So that little crack in their voice,
Yep.
trying to hold it together, it doesn't come through. The little look in the eye or the moment of them getting lost in the reminiscence, it doesn't come through. And like people can feel when you're faking it. And that's not to diss other people. It's more just like me for everyone. You authentically being yourself is so potent that people will try to copy it. People will try to copy you being yourself. And what's ironic is they could just go be themselves,
Right,
but it's
right.
so uncomfortable to do that that they will first go to copy your authentic thing as a script, then actually be authentic and vulnerable themselves because it's that hard.
Yeah.
So it's powerful, and it can be lucrative if you use it for good. It can be impactful for people if you use it for good. Um, but yeah, I know that's not everyone's ideal in life. Like you can't seem cool and mysterious and all put together sometimes when you're so vulnerable. Like you don't seem flawless that way. But I think people crave the realness nowadays, anyways. But
Yeah.
yeah.
Well, this is unrelated, but just so you know, I didn't tell you this yet, but one of the reasons like that I did post that video, even though I was nervous, is because one time when my shoulder was in a flare up, and you know how it is when you're in a flare up, it's just like fuck this, fuck everything. So I was on your live and I was just like, have you ever been hopeless? Just kind of hoping you'd say yes, you know, because then I'll know that it's gonna be okay. And your answer was just raw, and it was like super vulnerable, and you basically just put it all out there. And that inspired me because the way that helped me, I was just like, just your honesty. I knew that I could do the same in my own way for what I've been through and got through. Haven't got through this yet, but got through other stuff. So yeah,
Mm,
unrelated, but just wanted to tell you that.
that's
Um,
really cool to hear. That was on live.
it was on live.
Mm. Damn, Magic caught me on another day. I wasn't feeling it. I was like, hopeless? Do I look weak to you? Can't Cal,
Yo,
grow up.
yeah, this wouldn't have gone the same way.
Yeah. Nah, man. I love stories like that because I forget those moments, but the people that it impacted, they don't forget,
No.
It's like when every day is kind of like that, you just plant seeds everywhere. You don't know where it'll go. And you're the same. You're becoming a seed planter. And I like that term because it's like we don't get to choose when people are fertile to the message
Hmm.
and when the soil is ready for it. But if you leave a seed just meaning a new idea, a new viewpoint, a new hope, a new approach, whatever it is for your niche, your thing, put it everywhere you can. put it in people to give, 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 give. You can't watch it and wait for it to grow, but at its own pace, when people need it, if it was real, it's going to grab the soil. If it's fake, if it's not good, if you're not good at what you're doing, if you're not good at what you're saying, like there's not really substance yet, it's not going to work. Keep working at it. But if there is truth in it, just like wildfire around you, all of a sudden over time, people are going to have stories like that. And someone's going to tell you, in 6 months or a year, how probably that video led to a different turn of events for them. And that's the full circle confirmation of like, yeah, this is a worthy path to be
Mm.
on. Back to
Hmm.
what you're saying, would you change any of it? Nah, dude, I get like daily moments like these and I just feel in awe. My only challenge now is to continually improving my self relationship so I feel worthy of so much like gratitude from people. I came up thinking I don't deserve anything because I was just stuck in these issues. And I think that's the problem I want everyone to have is like make your life so incredible in your own way that your only challenge is now raising your self confidence, thinking you deserve it. Like face that challenge of I deserve better, instead of settling for less. And that's what injury does. That's what pain does to you. That's what repeated heartbreak can do to you. You just kind of start to settle for less. And that is not the truth, but it's an easier thing to sit with sometimes. But I appreciate you sharing that, man. That really helps. It's a great full circle for us here on this podcast. So,
100%.
yeah, bro.
Yeah. I'm glad you didn't crash out on me when I said that. That would have been really awkward. I'm just kidding, but
I got a lot of sides to me, man. You never know. I'm still growing for sure, but
I've never seen that. But yeah.
yeah, that's funny.
Um, well, I just got one last question for you. Um, like I told you before, the reason I wanted you on this, like for, ever since I've been working on TWISI, I thought of you to bring on, is because you're proof that no matter what it is, no matter what you're feeling, like you can be in the grips of hell, but it will be okay. When you look at Brendan, you look at his page, you hear his story. Yeah, it's just the most clear as day proof. So I wanted to just ask you to try to visualize and picture yourself at your lowest point in life, the most vulnerable, hopeless, pessimistic version of Brendan. You know that somebody listening to this might be just like that, Brendan. So I'm just curious, what would you want to say to them?
Hmm,
I know you'd probably tell them a whole lot, but
maybe not. Um, yeah. So the whole thing is just like, the saying, a word to the wise is sufficient. The challenge is making people wise. So that way the simple words will really actually crack through. Because I had a hard skull when it came to how calloused I became. Um, I felt very misunderstood, and then I started to take an identity around feeling misunderstood. So it wasn't just that like no one could get through to me. I didn't want someone to get through to me. I didn't feel understood for so long that it was like I stopped even having hope that I could feel understood in that. And the reason why I say understood is because then if I had a mentor, if I had the sort of voices around that I do now of wisdom, I don't think I would have really been receptive because I didn't want to feel better.
mm,
And that's a big part, I think, of what I help people with is accepting, hey, you've tried 75 times. I'm going to ask a very hard thing of you to try the 76 because you deserve that. And I think if I could probably try to talk to my former self, which would be very difficult at that stage, it would be a message of like, take as long as you need, but you cannot stay here. You don't need to get up now. It doesn't need to be a year. The sooner the better, but you take as long as you need. But you just, as long as I could implant the awareness that you literally cannot stay in this state. And that would be all I needed because everything else came from taking steps away and then having life happen to me. But like, I could try to say all this is for a reason. You're going to see the power in it later. You missed out on all the things you thought are important, but don't worry, those things that you're heartbroken about now, they're nothing. You're gonna have better things. It's like when you go through a bad breakup and someone says there's lots of fish in the ocean. You're like, I don't care. I want that
I
fish.
want that fish.
It's
Yeah.
like, and it's like there's better people out there. No, I don't care. I want her. You don't want to hear it in that moment, right? And so all you can do is really like hopefully set up just a little thing of impart a little bit of direction so when I was ready to try again in life that I would know which direction to go in and not fall back into the same trap. And so that would probably be it, is hey, I'm probably not going to help you today because you're really really not receptive to the message, but all I'm going to say is when you do feel ready enough to give it another go and to go back at your dreams and storytell and be real, I just want you to take steps towards the direction of a slower, more long term,
Mm.
more sustainable, and like grateful place and give up everything you were using as fuel in the past. Um, because I just kept overheating and breaking down. Like I kept just in the same loop. So I didn't give a really good one-liner answer on this one. It's honestly a tough one. If I'm not just trying to give a good clip for
I don't need a
like content,
cliche.
like this
Hey,
is actually a tough one because you just got to live through life. You really just have to go through it, and you have to like make your only mission not to become forever jaded and indifferent to life. If you can make it through that and keep your heart open, um, I think the natural byproduct is you're gonna find wisdom and you're gonna find purpose in it. But like most people lean into the coping so much and they like stack all these other issues and distractions, and then you become just so I don't know what the NPC
yeah,
term,
that's it.
and you become autopilot and like so dissociated. So yeah, man, it's a fight. And I think if people just stay in the fight and you stay present to any amount that you can, and over time keep that as your goal, is to like hold on to some dreams, hold on to some childish kind of
Hmm.
open-hearted imagination. Um, all the other stuff is going to become more clear over time. But I said earlier in the podcast, I hope you stumped me on a question, and you did. So now I
Hey,
got something to think about.
bet. I'll take it. Your
Yeah,
answer,
man.
you did answer. It's just not a one
Yeah,
line viral one, which is, I'm
right.
pissed about that. I wanted the viral one. So,
I
not
know, bro. You caught me on a you caught me on a real tangent ranty day. So I didn't give you a lot of good one-liners, but hey, it's a wrap. We no there's no bad take when you're being genuine. Whoever
exactly.
wants to hear it needs it will sit through every just for advice for you, like fuck second takes. Put this one out, then film another with a new person. Just keep putting them out, and like when you're doing it for a real reason, people don't care, you
Yeah.
know. So
Well, this is,
yeah, bro.
I'm double lucky for this because, I mean, other people can watch it, but also I want to hear this shit because you're proof for me, with this pain. So just picking your brain is beneficial to me and people that can watch it. So just, yeah, thank you so much for doing this. I know
No problem.
you have little to gain from coming onto this, but like you said, you wanted to do it because it kind of made you like remember um, when you were a small not small channel. So,
Yeah. When it's early, you got a big channel. You're not small. You're just early, for
mhm,
real.
exactly.
The numbers are a byproduct. They come afterwards, but numbers don't say it all either. There's a lot of people that got numbers
Mm,
that become an empty, kind of big page too. And like, there's not really true community there and true engagement. It's the power of the message is the strongest thing, and you've got it. And so all the stuff comes later. just hold on to that main thing, bro. Don't even, I would stop wording it as if you don't have something big.
Mm,
You do, for real. That I knew that when I had 2,000 followers, and I think that's an important thing to like be brave enough to say to yourself. If you actually believe it's big, which I think you do because you're
yes,
really going after it. So you don't gotta you don't gotta make it seem like you're lucky to be here. Just my reminder.
appreciate that.
Yeah,
Well,
bro.
regardless, um, it's a testament to your character, buying a few shirts and coming on here. So thank you. Even if I'm not lucky that you're here, thank you anyway. I'm gonna go buy one of your shirts. What's it saying? It's what's your slogan? It's play the
Play the
long,
long game.
play the long game. So yeah, I mean, for the vast following of TWISI, I'll put your links here. 600 people will see it. Um, thank you guys for listening so much. Thanks to Brendan for doing this. This has been the way that Brendan Backstrom sees it. And yeah, it's a pretty cool first episode. So thank you so much. I'll give you the floor if you want to say any last things or yeah,
Yeah, bro. I just want to say what you're doing is incredible, and it's deeply aligned with everything that I think. Anything you look up to me for, I think you have it in your own way. And I'm really more of a people's person before I am a training guru. As much as I enjoy training and I enjoy injury rehab and rebuilding the body, and I take a lot of my time into learning that, the core underlying focus of mine is about people. And you have that down packed, and it's not something you can learn in a book. You just have to see yourself go through enough transformation and ups and downs, and then you become really good at guiding people because this shit's painful and difficult, and you've got it. So just want you to know, like, it's really, really inspiring. Other people are definitely feeling the same, and the more eyeballs you get on it, the more reminders and mirroring people are gonna give you on that. So right now, it seems like you're gonna doubt yourself more than you should. You may not realize how crucial what you're doing is for people. So just stick with it, and then in a year or two, your new problem will be you get all these testimonies, and you don't even know what to think of it, and you're just like, oh yeah, we sold out again. Got to sell more shirts. We got to do more projects. We got to help more with the giveaways. So the way you've tied in the purpose to a product and then merged it and kept it transparent, you got a great blueprint. That's how I try to do business too, and it's a cheat code if you really care and you're not in it for a quick money grab. Like there's longevity in that. So you got a pretty bulletproof plan for the next few years to grow financially, to grow the page, to grow community, to grow, a new precedent of business with shirts and merch. So I'm excited to see how it goes for you, for real. And thanks for having me here. It made me think about some stuff that I haven't really talked on for a little while, and it's good to reflect on. So I appreciate it. Hopefully, it helps someone listening, and that's really the goal of this, you know. So
exactly.
that's it for me.
Thank
Yeah,
you so
man.
much. Just so you know, like hearing that from you, somebody who got me through that shit, it means more than I could begin to explain. And like you said, yes, if this helped one person, it was worth it. So yeah, thank you so much for your time. I
Yes,
appreciate
sir.
you very, very much. And yeah,
Yeah. To the next.
to the next. Thanks, Brendan.
Yes, sir. Man. Yep. Catch you.
Peace out, man.